Hey, yo, y'all, what it do? What it do? Yes, indeed. Time for the, you know, uh, bon voyage, or I should have I should have named myself tonight, or this afternoon. Yeah, this afternoon, given the date of this live stream. I should have called myself Bon Rayage. Yeah, so come along and ride on this fantastic voyage, or Rayage. But as y'all see on this screen here, like the name, well, the description in this case, I went with her drayage is covered. So for those who don't know what the word drayage is, it's basically freight that is, transported from the ship to its final destination. So that's kind of it in regards to the word drayage. Just in case, somebody wasn't aware that was actually a word. That's not a word play. It is actually a real word. So look up drayage. Uh-huh. The transport of freight from an ocean port to a destination. That's literally what drayage is. And in this case, when I say her drayage is covered, that's because I'm the captain. So basically, the freight that she has is covered by me. She's with me. I got her covered. You dig? So that's what we own. That's what we own. But we talking about how sometimes these things can sink. You know, sometimes she has too much freight. Yeah. Sometimes she has too little freight. Yes, too little of freight. What do I mean by this? Now, too much freight is just basically too much baggage. It's holding down the ship. It's making it to where the ship can't move how it needs to move out there on the waters. But then you have times where there's too little of freight, and then it makes the ship just too light on the waters. You don't want a ship that's too heavy on the waters, and you don't want a ship that's too light on the waters either. You want it just right. So oftentimes when you see passenger or cargo vessels out there on the waters, they have to have a certain count, whether a head count of people or a box count of cargo or even automobiles. They need to know the exact number to make sure the weight is balanced, where it's just right. It's not too much weight, it's not too little of weight. So, ladies, keep that in mind. And no, I'm not talking about your weight like with your body. So don't feel offended. Okay. I'm talking about the weight of things you've had to deal with in life, what we have to do to get from point A to point B together. So this how the captain starts to relate to the ship relationship. Get it? So oftentimes before the captain even goes out on seas, they do their inspections, what needs to be inspected, like the rudder and the propellers, things like that. But he also is paying attention to the count to make sure the count is accurate. And the way he does that is he goes off the count and he goes off the weight, and he combines those two to make sure that it's all stable before it goes out there on the waters. I see deliberate in the building. Aye, Captain. Yeah, you already know. Let's go. Yep. Yeah, bon rayage. Bon rayage. Her drayage is covered, meaning her load, what she has going on, in her life. And yeah, we're not talking about defecation, people. Get your head out the hole when I say load, okay? So um, we're just talking about just in general, like that's how it should be. But sometimes it doesn't go this way. So we're going to talk about sunken relationships, right? So for those who didn't know, I got a playlist that at my channel called the Building Challenge. Now, in that playlist called the Building Challenge, I don't just necessarily talk about ships, okay, but I do relate it to relationships um, and of course, for me talking about ships now, that just adds to that playlist of the building challenge. And I highly encourage everyone to go check that playlist out here at my channel. Okay. So But basically, y'all hear people talk about we got to build a relationship, and I don't say that we got to build a relationship. What you two are building is a vision, not a relationship. The relationship comes out of the vision. Once again, what you two are building is a vision, not a relationship. The relationship comes out of the vision that y'all building together. So, ladies, get around a guy that has a vision for you, that has a vision with you, or with you a part of his life. Like there's things he's doing in his life, and he sees how important it is to have you as part of the vision. So, otherwise, if that's not the case, there is the vision. Okay. So, yeah, that's it. That's it. Yeah, the overload. Yeah, exactly. Deliberate. It has to be balanced with the way it's buoyant. Okay. Now, sometimes she tries to be too flamboyant. That's for another story. And also, y'all probably don't know, but this is why ships don't use lights at night. Like you see cars use headlights. Well, ships don't use those type of lights at night. The only time a ship would probably do that is if somebody went overboard and they need to find out where they're at in the water. So, my heart goes out to that type of situation. We don't want that to happen. That's the only time a ship will flash one of those type of lights. But normally, the way ships identify each other at night, they have similar lights on their vessels at night that the airplanes have on their uh fuselages when they're up in the sky, like when y'all see those blinking lights and stuff like that. Ships have similar things like that on them at night. So no, yeah, this is why ships don't use headlights at night, because to have a headlight on a ship, you got to think of how big a ship is. We already see how big headlights are on cars and how bright they are. Just imagine how bright the light would be on a ship. Okay. And so, not to digress, but all I'm saying is that tying in with what Deliberate said. She said, "A man with a vision is a true captain." Bingo. So the captain, that's what we get back. That's when we get back to, yeah, what y'all building is a vision, not the relationship. The relationship comes out of the vision, and that's based on the captain being able to relate to that ship well. And it's like that with any large vehicle, whether it's a vehicle that you drive or just simply a vehicle that you operate, like a crane. Okay, you have to be able to relate to that particular vehicle in order for you to be able to operate it well. You have to become one with it. So now, for a lot of gals who think from the standpoint of monogamy, becoming one, it's not just you being the only one. It's actually just becoming one based on unity. Some people like the wordplay on that. No, becoming one has nothing to do with monogamy. Becoming one just literally means to be at a union, right? To have unity, to be together. So that's what that happens when that captain becomes one with that ship. When he can fully relate to that ship, he can navigate that ship. He knows that ship very well. Okay. So it makes things easier. Now the problem can be with how the ship can get sunken, is if there just happen to be something wrong with that ship, or what something goes wrong with that ship. So ladies, that could be you. Something just goes wrong with you, and that causes the relationship to sink. Though that man thought he knew you very well. You see how all that just sounds so beautiful? Okay, but that's what you don't want to do. That's why you need to communicate to him when things are wrong, just in case there's something he missed. He's observing, but he's not trying to check on you every 5 to 10 to 11 times. He has to trust in his better judgment, his experience, and as well as the performance of that vehicle overall before there's anything that could go awry. I mean, yeah, he's going to do his inspection of the ship as much as possible, but at the same time, the ship has been well so far. So he'll do the proper inspections that's needed. But at the same time, he can't go crazy every single time he thinks there's a crack and things like that all the time over the seas. Some things are to be expected when you're out on the water. That's just part of wear and tear. Okay. But it's to the point of where he'll make sure the ship is still seaworthy. Okay. So, ladies, can he see that you're worthy? Despite the fact that you might sometimes have a few loose nuts and bolts here and there just due to the wear and tear. You see, you said deliberate again. You said a vision is the foundation of relating on a ship, and commitment is the anchor. Exactly, the anchor when things are actually still, when we're at dock, or when we're just trying to ride out the storm. See, that part of the commitment, right? So, but even not even getting there, sometimes, the captain never even gets there with the ship. Now, some things are left to be avoided. Now, the anchor is just used mainly for the dock. You never want to use the anchor to get through the storm, to try to ride out the storm. That means that ship should have never been out in those waters at that time in the first place. But sometimes they have this thing called the perfect storm that happens, unfortunately. And even by then, he might be so far out at sea or on the oceans that the anchor can't reach that far down to the ocean bottom. Sometimes it can, but most of the times it can't. Okay. But yes, there are special occasions where even out at sea, you throw the anchor down. But most of the time the anchor is for the dock. Okay. But but yeah, that's the catch when the sunken ship could be just when she drifts off. Some gals like to be aloof. Well, man doesn't like a prospective woman that's aloof. If you're trying to be a prospective woman in his life, that's going to make him look at you like you're a typical female. When she's so aloof, like she doesn't know when to come, when to go, he asks you questions and you do sometimes selective hearing, or he can't get your undivided attention. Like that's like you being aloof. Like that's you knowing that you're prone to adrift. So for example, this is like a captain at the helm of the ship, but the problem is the ship never stays its course. Now imagine a gal that's aloof and she never stays her course. Fellas, you got to know if she's going to stay her course with you or not. Oftentimes, just her having slight disagreements is her not staying her course. That's like a captain, once again, at the helm of the ship. He's trying to stir right, but she's going left with it. So, literally, she likes to go left with this man all the time. And so, guys get tired of that. Yo, I'm trying to stir you right, but you want to go left. Get it? So, many different times, she's probably done this. So her thing about being sunken many times, she talks about it, right? But she doesn't say that she was the reason for how the relationship got sunken. Oftentimes it's due to how out of control she is. And I say it this way because look at this, right? She came from a previous relationship. And of course, it, just came from a previous relationship that sunk. But then she gets around this man. Okay, he's trying to steer you right, but you're going left. Now he's looking at you as the reason why you've had sunken relationships. Because if you was trying to get right, you wouldn't go left with the next captain that's trying to get you right or trying to steer you right. So that's like a great indicator that of if her past sunken relationships are due to her or due to the captain. Okay, so that's the deal. You know, that's where we have to really start to examine these things, right? So, and then you said it's deliberate about yeah, yeah, holding each other, being accountable about some things. Yeah, I mean, it goes through all these inspections, these ships. There's a reason why a ship is called a she, not a he. There's only a few ships called a he, but most of them are she's, okay? Because here's the vision, okay? The vision that I'm talking about. The vision that I'm talking about is the voyage. The voyage starts with the captain and the ship. Those two come together to make the voyage. There's no voyage without the captain, and there's no voyage without the ship. Now, here's the thing: you can make another ship, but you cannot make another captain, especially if that captain doesn't relate to that ship like the previous captain did. You can make another ship just like the last one, right? It'll just take a little longer. So, fellas, keep that in mind when she walks away. It might take you a little longer to find the proper ship to relate to because it takes that long to make ships. Okay. But it's worth it versus getting around a ship that's prone to sink. You said deliberate. Oh wow, she's a ship sinker. Yeah, hook, line, and sinker, right? Off the hook. So, but let's continue to keep going with what I want to talk about more today. That was just me kind of opening up to y'all about what we can go into in regards to her sunken relationships. Now, given the thumbnail y'all saw, it kind of looks pretty trendy, right? Kind of cool. I've been kind of working on really sprucing up my uh, thumbnails for each live stream. So that's kind of what's more in store, me doing these things. And, it's been as of late, people use these thumbnail capabilities to try to attach people's names to these live streams that they do, syncing their relationships with people. Okay. People can't trust them out at seas because it's on one hand, it's bad to have a bad captain, but on the other hand, you have all these pirates out here. So mainly that's what I mean. You have a lot of people out here talking about people, whether online or offline, but these pirates like to show up trying to hijack ships. Heck, I've had people try to hijack my ship a few times, right? No success, never will be any success, but it happens. People, there are pirates out here, right? So, but with my thumbnail, it's just kind of a gal. Well, it's actually two of them on the thumbnail, and they just kind of wallowing and in the waters around them, right? Their waters are never calm though. That's why you see the rushing of the waves also on that picture of that thumbnail. Is you see that a lot of times with these gals, the way they sync their relationships is through their waters not being stable. They're just always on these rough waters. Just makes it hard for the ship. Now, a lot of times the ship can endure those waters, but it can only endure those waters so much, especially out on the Great Lakes. There's been some very horrible incidents that have happened on the lakes, especially Lake Michigan. I believe there was some wreckages on Lake Superior as well. But my condolences to all the lost sailors of each vessel. Okay. But all this to say that sometimes she just still tries to steer left, even though the captain is trying to turn her right, get her right, turn her around right. Sometimes, fellas, in the midst of a sunken relationship, you have to jettison the ship before it sinks on you. Don't go down with the ship. A lot of guys go down with the ship. A lot of guys that simp, over simp. Okay, that's a new terminology for y'all. Sometimes we over simp and then we end up going down with the ship. I'm telling y'all right now, it's 2022, given the date of this live stream. Fellas, do not go down with the ship. Ladies, don't expect the guy to go down with the relationship. Okay. So, but a real woman wouldn't put a man through such ordeals to where a man now has to face this idea of going down with the ship. I know gals right now that they're divorced from a guy and they still make him come around because they're using him all up or they can't find another man after the divorce. So they'll kind of let this guy still come back around, even though she don't like him, but she can't find another guy to get with. So it's just going to get worse and worse and worse between the two, become more volatile between the two. Okay. So that's how it be though. You know what I'm saying? Fellas, do not go down with the ship. I got another terminology for y'all. So I just said over simp, okay? That guys do when they end up going down with the relationship, go down with the ship. Guys, you got to learn how to jettison the ship. So basically, here's the new word for you here. Call it a jettison ship. You have when there's no relationship, you got to have a jettison ship with that ship. You don't have a relationship with that ship, you can't relate to that ship, you have to jettison the ship. That's what I call a jettison ship. Yeah, that's right. Let me type the word in here for y'all, right? So, because that's kind of what needs to happen a lot of times. Now, I'd say for the real woman versus typical female, she's not trying to put a man through the situation to where he has to jettison the relationship, right? She wants him to stay, you know. Yeah, she like, baby, stay because I like your medicine. Please don't jettison. Okay. So that part. But that's what tends to happen though. Um, I see probably even with what I've observed, even from manosphere talks, and like I said, not here to bash manosphere, even though over here I represent the xenosphere. Um, it's just a lot of times guys get to the point of where I believe, to be honest, guys um, do a good job at jettison the ship. Actually, I think what most guys do nowadays when they see a ship or relationship per se, they do this. Let's say if I was with some guys, we was at a yard, let's just not even talk about a big ship. Let's just talk about a yacht. Guy get up to the yacht. He like, oh no, man, I ain't even trying to figure this boat out. I'm not even trying to figure this vessel out. It's too complicated. I'm walking off. You ain't even took the yacht off the dock. He like, nah, I ain't even finna test it. Right? And then you have other guys, they take the yacht or the relationship, they try to call themselves relating to the ship, which I guess that's very noble of them. But they realize, hey, you know that something's wrong with this vessel, but you're still trying to do something with it. You need to jump off. You got enough life rafts on you. You good. You got a flare on you. Go. Hey, here's the catch. When a red flag shows up, pop up the flare. Okay. Somebody will be right there to get you out. I think a lot of guys that be in those situations don't know how to pop up the flare when there's a red flag about that ship. And that way someone can reach out to you. A lot of times guys end up going down with the ship, with the relationship, whether through like, self destruction or just the guy becomes more hatred towards ships, relationships, if you will. Because oftentimes that's just pointing out that you, one, were on the wrong ship, or two, you probably didn't know how to navigate that ship properly. It's okay. It's okay to admit these things. But I think overall, most people never get to that point of realizing how to be a proper captain. Some guys just, like I said, don't even want to test the idea of trying to captain such vessels, these feminine, because a lot of these feminine are not yielded vessels. They're not vessels yielding to them. But I think when you do have a certain knack and you have a certain type of experience, you know where to go, what to go, and you know what type of ship to navigate and what not to navigate. I said a lot in a little bit, but hopefully that kind of clears the answers for people who probably have looked around on YouTube, checking out content, maybe Manosphere, maybe other platforms, maybe alpha sectors, sigma sectors. I don't know, maybe red pill, blue pill, black pill, white pill sectors. I don't know, but you still didn't get the answer. Hopefully, I've given you a great answer there. You just have to learn how to be a captain, basically, at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, so that you can avoid the bad ships. And you can jettison a ship if it starts to get really bad. Before it gets really bad, you got to know beforehand what storms may lie ahead. You have to know these things before you go out on those waters. Okay, so but I do want to kind of get back to some other things about her sunken relationships. Like um, I've said before in some of my previous uploads in regards to the building challenge, in regards to talking about the ship, if you will. Like I can see why a lot of the feminine talk about the relationship so much, because she is the ship. Okay. Now, ladies, y'all need to be saying that. Y'all got it wrong when y'all be saying that y'all the table. I'll be hearing y'all beating the table. Y'all be like, I am the table. I am the table. You talking about bringing something to the table. I am the table. I am the table. Sweetie, no, no, no. You are the ship. Okay. You're not the relationship though, but yes, you are the ship. And actually, the table is just inside the ship. So yeah, keep that in mind. But yeah, ladies, you are the ship. They call the ship after a she. So I can understand why a lot of the feminine do talk about the ship a lot, the relationship a lot. I get it. But that's when the captain shows up and tell you that, hey, be focused on the cruise and not the ship. It's all about how we navigate through this voyage, this vision. That's why I said what y'all building is not a relationship. Y'all building a vision. The ship has already been built, right? So, ladies, y'all already been built a certain way. I get it, and some of y'all need some work. I mean, it's just the truth. Okay, some of y'all need some work. Now, you can easily question the captain when, well, you actually won't question the captain. You'll just act like you have the answer. But I'm just saying, like, when things seem to be as to where he can't navigate things properly with you, he doesn't have a clear outline of how you're getting from point A to point B. There's no set directions on how to do these things. Okay, See, guys talk about dominance a lot. Well, with a ship, it's not about dominating the ship. It's about directing the ship, having the proper directions. That's why over here at this channel, I don't speak on dominance. I speak on direction here at this channel. Okay. That's my main thing I do here because I think more like a captain. Okay. All right, captain, like they say. Yeah. So, Sir Bon Rayage, keep that in mind. Actually, you know what? Let me change that up because I want to continue to talk about uh her drayage is covered. So I'm gonna kind of change my name a little bit on this, man, because I'm kind of having some fun right now, having a little fun talking about the ship because that's important. Like I get it with the feminine, they talk about the ship a lot, the relationship, but ladies, you can't talk about the ship without thinking about the captain. Okay, now if the captain is capping, you'll know what's happening, right? So you'll know just based on the fact that he really doesn't know where to go, like meaning he's just stuck in place. Now if he's not moving forward or moving ahead, that's when you know that he really doesn't know how to be the proper captain in your life. So these things are very important because I see this is why a lot of things are just going the way that they're going out here in regards to all relationships. Because first of all, guys don't even know that they're supposed to relate to the ship. So yes, you're supposed to relate to her. She is the ship. Relate to her in many ways. Listen to her. Talk to her. Get some more information about her. Not like you vetting her, but let her open up on her own. I'm not here to give a gal a questionnaire about herself. That's not my goal. That's not what I'm trying to do. But I do want her to eventually open up to me, and that's when she gets more comfortable with me. Okay. So yes, Sir Bon Rayage is speaking to y'all. Okay, trying to let y'all know how this all goes down and avoiding her going down. I'm going down. See, since you ain't around, like she needs the captain to stay afloat, literally. So, ladies, keep that in mind. You need the captain to stay afloat. You could be buoyant on your own. You could stay on top of the waters on your own, but you ain't going nowhere without the captain. Even if you look at autonomous ships that are out there, they need a what program to stay afloat. So, hey, uh, you still need to get around. You can't get around on your own, ladies. But with that said, yeah, you'll just end up lost adrift. No one can find you. So a lot of the feminine out here that do talk, they talk as if they're lost adrift. Okay, they're drifting, tossed to and fro. Okay, so you said deliver. You said drayage is the woman or the ship baggage. It's the ship baggage. So it's the woman's ship baggage, the baggage that she has. So yeah, good question though. So be like container ships. Like I said, passenger vessel. I mean, it could be uh, automobile vessel. It could be even oil tankers. Okay, so dredge is dredge. So basically, ocean going cargo. That's what dredge is. Okay, but but yeah, that's the thing, you got ships, like I said, that are they're, and ironically, even a ship that's autonomous, they still need to have a crew on board just to deal with the maintenance of the ship. So she still can't, yes, and I'm saying she, in regards to the ship, she still can't be out on those waters by herself. She still needs some type of supervision. Even if she doesn't have a technical captain on board, she still needs supervision in regards to her maintenance and upkeep because, ships be out there for months. They be out there for months until they get to their next port of call or to their final destination. Some ships be out there for almost a year. It depends on the shipment, okay? And it depends on the cruise, if it's a ocean liner or if it's a cruise ship. It depends, okay? So I say that to say, yeah, these ships that are now autonomous and they don't have a captain, but they have a program to get around. I see that with the feminine nowadays. They like, I'm down with the program. I don't need a man. That's what's going on. And so that's part of her sinking type of thing. Maybe at one point she could have had a captain of a man around, but she like, no, I'm down. I got the program. I'm down with the program. I don't need a man. Remember what took place back in decades ago? when some of the feminine decided to take on these government programs and they didn't need a man. Y'all see where I'm going with that? Now we fast forward, we see how a lot of gals are, lost out at sea, lost adrift because they never had a captain in their life. They never had a man, you know. We're starting to see that. But we're just now seeing some gals have decided to take the more extreme route. They still are being defiant. They're just trying to become even more programmed. That's the crazy part. Because as I said earlier, okay, those ships that are out there, even without a captain, they still need supervision to check on their upkeep. So you're now finding ways to find ships that are more autonomous. They're finding ways to make them uh, less moving parts on these ships so they can have less of a crew on board for their maintenance and upkeep. So you have gals that out here, they're becoming more programmed and they're having more things available to them to where they don't have to have people they can call on for things like um, they can order stuff online now through the phone apps and things like that. They don't necessarily need guys to come over to even help them. They don't need to have even their own brother check up on them and things like that. So, um, yeah, I mean, literally, a lot of them are like ghost ships. A lot of them are like ghost ships. Yeah, yeah, pretty much. Some of them end up off the radar, like people don't find them until a long time later, and hopefully nobody was on board. Hopefully, yeah, obviously the captain won't be on board, but yeah, that's what happens. And that's what's happening now with the feminine that are similar to these actual ships. They're foregoing uh, relationships. I'm going to tell you this, they're foregoing a man actually relating to them. I say this because, one second, because what did I just say earlier? What did I just say a few seconds ago or a few minutes ago about some of the self navigating ships or the autonomous ships? They rely on programs since they don't have a captain. Okay, so oh man, this is so deep. This is so deep. Ladies, this is why you need to make sure that the righteous man in your life, the man in your life is actually righteous. Okay. I'm finna drop something real. I'm finna say like something like one of the realest things y'all ever hear somebody say. Okay. So yeah, it's true. The ship is navigated by a captain, but the captain had to learn about how to navigate certain waters in order to do certain routes with that particular ship that it's relating to. It had to have notes. It had to have an atlas. It had to have a set of already uh, directions and commands and things like that from uh, upper management, an upper source. He had to already have this on board before he even got on the ship. What am I saying? A man that comes into your life trying his best to navigate you a certain way as your captain, he had to already have certain instructions from a certain book that was like an atlas for him, which was like scriptures, right? From someone that was above him. So any man that doesn't have instructions from someone above him, he's not going to be the proper captain for you, no matter how much experience he claims to have. So that's the ideal captain for you, ladies. Someone that has experience, but also he has his instructions from above, and he walks on the ship with his books, okay, with his book, the good old book, you name it. But he gets out there and he gets on that deck, and he's ready to, get started, and he can open up those books for you to let you know this is how we're going to navigate. So, ladies, be around a man that is truly righteous, trying to guide you the right way, and he'll tell you this is how he's been able to go about, and this is what we can do from here. That way, we can have as clear of a path in our navigation on these waters together as possible, fulfilling the great vision, and that's obviously going to be determined on how our relationship is, how I relate to the ship, and so the ship reciprocates that to the captain as far as the way it performs. So, ladies, it's about the way you perform. So it's about the way your dynamic is. Like, planes have aerodynamics, but The ship has hydrodynamics because it's in water, so it's hydro, not aero. Okay, so I'm going somewhere with a lot of this. Okay, so the better the man that is into what he knows with the books that he has from the powers above him, the more he can understand you and your dynamics and how y'all can get through the waters. So if the man ain't righteous, like, if he's not a righteous captain, okay, y'all not going anywhere. There won't be no captain save a ship. He won't be able to even save that ship, that relationship, even when you're probably the reason why it sunk. And I'm not saying, ladies, that y'all the reasons why the relationship sunk. I just say that as an example. There are cases where he is the reason why the ship sunk. You know, there are a few cases where he just didn't know where he was going with you, and that happens too. That's why you got to stay away once again from guys that don't have experience and they didn't come on the ship to relate to it with the instructions, right? His instructions, uh, you know, uh, instructions before leaving Earth, as some people call the Bible, if you will. But just in regards to universal truth, universal knowledge, a man needs to have this before he's even trying to relate to you as the ship relationship, if you will. A man should jettison the ship if he's bringing all this truth, if he has all this instructions to know how to navigate the waters, and yet the ship continues to not go where it needs to go. So, fellas, you get around a gal and you got all this information, this knowledge, and she's still trying to not have you take her right. She wants to steer left or go left. That's when you jettison. All these guys thinking they could get a gal to be a certain way, no matter how chaotic she is, that's being manipulative. A captain don't want a chaotic ship. Last time I checked, captain wants a smooth ship, and I don't blame him. Okay, so want a smooth ship and want it to be able to do what it has to do. Now, even female captains say this. Okay, yeah. So they get what male captains have to go through. So there are gals that have, I guess you would say, they've been in other sexual orientations, but they were the masculine one of that partner or that couple. And she can say, like, even though I'm not a man, I can relate to what a man goes through because here I am going through it, given my sexual orientation with the gal that's more feminine with me than me. Like, I get what men go through. So basically what I'm saying is that even female captains can relate to the male captains as far as the way a ship should be. So even females that are more masculine, what I'm saying, than other females, they can relate to an actual man about the way a lot of these females are. Okay? Like I'm going somewhere with this, y'all. Like, yeah, hey, Sir Bon Rayage. You know what I'm talking about? So I want to talk about this too, because like I said earlier about her drayage is covered, meaning her baggage, like not extra baggage, just the right amount. Okay. So even things that were brought to the port, like I was coming there to get on a ship and it's brought to the port. Some things had to go. Now, if she didn't like that, then of course that ship was a no go. That relationship was a no go. Because sometimes a man is going to tell a gal, hey, this won't work here. And I'm not trying to be mean, but sweetie, this is not going to help us right now. Like, you being this way, you thinking this way, or you acting this way, it's not going to help us right now. But she's the type that be like, oh, screw you. I know what I'm talking about. You think you know everything, whatever. Whether she hangs up the phone or slam the door in his face. And I'm like, okay, you just sunk another ship. Look at you. You know, you keep saying where all the good men have gone. Well, you made him jump overboard. What else do you expect? You made the man jump overboard. What else would you expect? Deliberate also said, for going to captain, she do not need a man. Oh man, she got toys and trinkets, apps, college degree, government as a boyfriend, super sugar daddy, F boy, and an occupation that keeps her occupied, aka self-navigating ship, autonomous ship. Facts. All that in a nutshell. You hit the nail. Facts. So talking more about this drayage, okay? This drayage that we talking about. hmm So there's a lot to say. Um, there's a lot to say about this because mainly on container ships, mainly on container ships. Some of them are insured, right? You got to have that depending on how you're hauling certain things. Okay, you have to have that. Now, it's all different depending on the vessel, depending on how far you're going with things on that vessel. Insurance is a little different. Okay, so trying to do something with y'all here. So yeah, something I want to talk to y'all about. So there's a difference between insurance and assurance. Insurance is a contract that specifies that certain things will be covered or taken care of. That's kind of what insurance is. Assurance is a positive declaration of those things that get covered or should be covered. So you ask me, which one is better, the insurance or the assurance? Well, I'd say, given the way things play out, I say that because everything that you try to insure, there's always some type of a loophole. But things that are assured is based on a positive declaration. There's nothing positive about insurance. Okay. There's all type of if, ands, and buts and no guarantees. But assurance is literally you guaranteeing. You guaranteeing that it's good. Okay. So you ask me, I would prefer assurance in relationships, not insurance. See, even signing a paper marriage is a form of insurance. A lot of people don't know that. What do you think happens when you get a divorce? Well, 50-50, right? So, hey, she already signed that when you got married to her, that marriage insurance. They call it marriage license. It's also marriage insurance. No one talks about that about paper marriage, though, right? Just saying. Everything you kind of sign on a dotted line is basically some type of insurance. Even when you're trying to get a job, that's insurance. Even when you're filing your taxes, that's insurance. Basically, the government is going to get their cut of whatever you make, okay, while you're working somewhere. That's insurance. It's hard for you to really tell the government, rest assured, you're going to get it. You're going to get it. And then with your job, when like I said, when you're applying for the job, you basically signing on them papers that you're gonna be there. You're gonna be there. You're gonna do your job. That you applied for. So you're gonna do your job that you applied for, right? So the thing is that they have exit strategies for if you don't do your part. They have exit strategies. There's things that are built within the fabric and framework of your employment that will be taken care of if you don't do your part to fulfill that contract of employment. But usually from the day you punch on the clock, that employer is getting some of their return back in some ways. Now, some things take a little longer to get on their return, like for example, a drug test, uh, or like if you damage something at the job, or if there's a lawsuit, that takes a little longer, to get back a return on their investment in that. But the main thing they want you to sign on the paper about is you're just gonna do your part when you get there. But like I said, not to digress too much, like to me, I believe in the relationships, ladies, it's about what a man says, not what a man gets you to sign on the dotted line. I really believe in that. I really believe that if he could just get you to sign on the dotted line about things, he don't really like you like that, okay? A lot of celebrities do this. They don't have a lot of assurance about their relationships. They have a lot of insurance. And this ain't even talking about marriage. This is just talking about just dating and things like that. Okay. So, but her sunken relationships are based on, there's a lot to put here because if you think about it, if you really think about it, the ship is just a ship. The ship don't have hands. The ship don't have fingers, right? The only moving part on the ship is the rudder and the propeller, and maybe the fog light from time to time. Like I said, if they're trying to see if somebody fell overboard or if there's a lost vessel out there that needs to be rescued. Where I'm getting at with this, the only person that has hands and eyes is the captain. So yes, captain, he's the one that has to sign on the dotted line about these things. Okay. So my point of all this is that, ladies, like, I know there's this big emphasis of how you want certain things to be with the relationship and what needs to be signed. And I guess what you would expect a man to sign for you. When ultimately, the only thing a man actually has to sign, there are, I get it. Yes, there are things that the man needs to sign in regards to like whatever contract he's doing with that ship in order for things to be shipped and things like that. But if you really think about it, that's not part of the ship itself. That's part of the vision. See, the way the marriage does things, and they want you to sign papers like that, it doesn't represent the vision. It just represents that type of relationship. And I hope my background isn't too loud for y'all. It's 46 minutes in. I'll be done with this soon. All that man really signs on the dotted line is for making sure that things will be shipped. He reports to the higher powers and he signs on the dotted line about that. So I say this, ladies, when a man signs something, it's actually about the vision. It's not about the relationship. It's literally about the vision, you know what I'm saying, of what needs to be done in that situation. It's not even about like the relationship. Literally, when he signs on a dotted line about anything in regards to the ship, that's because he's relating to the ship, like through the inspection. Like I can relate to the ship, this and that. All this is good. Okay, like this is really getting deep because basically, the captain gives the ship itself more assurance than insurance. Okay, he guarantees, he lets people know, I have this experience. I will make sure the ship gets to where it has to go. What I sign on the papers for people is different than what commitment I give to the ship. I'd say this: in any type of ship, relating ship, there should be less papers that have to be signed. If there's things that are signed, it's outside of what we have going on, literally, whether it's spiritual or anything. But between her and I, there shouldn't really be too many papers that have to be signed, right? If it's always up to the captain anyway. Like it shouldn't be to the point, I guess, in certain relationships where there should be loans. You know, fellas, if you got to get around a chick and you have to like ask her, can you borrow something? And then she like makes it a loan for you that you would have to pay back and y'all have to sign for that. I'd stay away from that. And ladies, I'd say the same thing for y'all. Don't be around a guy that has you sign something in regards to a loan. Shouldn't be that way. Yeah. So, sort of wrapping up, sort of some of the things I want to bring up. There's so much we could go into with the meat of this, but it's definitely about enduring storms. But sometimes you have to endure the krakens. Yes, these krakens, these big old sea monsters, these kaijus, as they call them in some places. You know what I'm saying? You got to have a kaiju, these deep sea monsters, these krakens and kaijus. that tend to pull a ship down. Now, what do I mean by this? I brought up pirates before, how pirates, earlier in this live stream, I brought up how the pirates try to hijack these ships, right? But then you have these kaijus and krakens that just like to pull the ship down. It's a little different than hijacking the ship. You're just trying to pull the ship down. Like it could be a good day, no bad storm. Come on, kraken. Come on, kaiju. Y'all just trying to pull the ship down. So I'd say, ladies, yes, y'all being the ship and the captain's trying to relate to you as the ship relationship. Avoid people that are trying to pull you down. Yes, pull you down. You the ship. Now the captain in the ship. So I'd say, fellas, do everything you can to fight those trying to pull y'all down. Have to fight. Have to show like, yo. I mean, I don't know how we got in this situation. Sometimes it's not on her. Sometimes these monsters just show up out of nowhere, and there's nothing you could do about it. Sometimes you ain't even know that water was infested with krakens and kaijus, right? But just gotta fight them off, right? Show her that you can like literally defend her. Look out for her when certain monsters try to show up, trying to pull her down, trying to keep her away from you, trying to cause you to jettison from her. Let her know that you are truly her captain. Not that you own her, but you navigate her. You got her, right? Like, truly, if I were to name a ship, I would just literally name her She's Mine. There wouldn't be a name for her. I'll just say She's Mine. That's what I put on the side of the ship. I guess if I wanted to give her a name, I could put that on the other side of her hull. But on one side of the hull, it'd just simply be like, She's Mine. So if her name's Betty, Betty, she's mine. You see that? But she's mine to the point of where I'll make sure I got her so that no one tries to take her down. And let alone try to take me down with her, you know. So it's not all the time that a gal gets in these situations and she's around the wrong people. Sometimes the wrong people just tend to come around trying to mess up a good situation. That happens. People get jealous, you know. It's another thing to know how pirates try to hijack the ship, hijack the situation. But it's another thing when you're dealing with somebody trying to pull y'all down, truly mess up y'all situation, destroy it, make it be to where it's vanished. There's no trace. No one knows what really took place, right? So watch out for those sea monsters that lurk out there. Okay. So, that's one way that the ship tends to get pulled down. Sometimes it's the iceberg that punctured her hull, though. I mean, that shouldn't be the case if she has a strong hull, but sometimes some of the feminine don't want to go through the process of having a strong hull or having thicker skin. Sometimes the captain is there as the ship is being made before he can relate to the ship. Sometimes he's trying to relate to the ship early on before he's ready to navigate with her. Some gals get very impatient in this process because they like, you with her and y'all got each other and y'all with each other, but why we not like that? And I'm like, you're not ready yet, but we're trying to make you ready. You don't want to be ready. You won't have thicker skin. Okay. I'm trying to help you have thicker skin so you can even break the ice. No matter how cold life can get, no matter how the waters can get a little frigid, you got tough skin, and I'm gonna help you get through these waters. I'm gonna help you. I'm gonna help you break the ice. An icebreaker ship is not made like a normal ship. It has probably a double hull, not just a single hull like normal ships you see out there. An icebreaker has a double hull. Sometimes it has a triple hull. Now you want to know what a hull is. The hull is like the bottom part of the ship, the bottom half of the ship. That's called the hull. So now imagine two of those, or sometimes three of those, kind of like a little sandwich, just a like a double cheeseburger sandwich, triple cheese. Well, you get that in regards to the hull of a ship. So that's how thick and tough an icebreaker ship is. So you can imagine it weighs a lot. So that's how they usually break the ice. They don't go through the ice, they ride on top of the ice and their weight comes down and it breaks the ice that way. So that's how the ship will be able to get through. And sometimes the icebreaker, after it does that, it paves the way for other ships, or sometimes it just paves the way for new type of navigation. So with that said, ladies, when he's made you a certain way around him, he's going to take you to places you never thought you would go, right? So now you can, because he broke that ice with you, you know, uh, given how he made you to be able to do that. You didn't know you could do it, did you? Right? But just listening to him, being more patient, and him showing you the way, that started to build you up more. That started to give you tougher skin. That started to give you a double hull, right? So he had to literally crack your ice in order for you to be made to crack ice. See what I'm saying? So having a good captain is one thing, but having a good hull is another thing, right? So without these two, sometimes it definitely can make for a sunken relationship. So gals that don't even want to be patient with the man as he's helping her to have tougher skin, that can really do things. So, some gals be like, he's pushing me too hard and he feels like, you know, um, I have to do more for him and stuff. And it's like, really, no, he's just trying to have you be more for him. It's not that he wants you to do more. He wants you to be more for him, more of his likeness, more of his type, more of his kind, right? And you just be kind about it. Otherwise, you're going to have another sunken relationship. And you can't blame it on the pirates. You can't blame it on the Kraken or the kaiju. You can't blame it on the bad storms. You can't even blame it on the captain. You have to blame it on yourself because he was trying to help you be a little stronger. He was trying to show you, and you didn't want to hear it because you were ready to go out on them waters. You was ready to get into this relationship with him. You was ready to have him relate to you, but you weren't ready. But he was showing you how to get ready. He was showing you how you can what? Be more relatable to him. How he can be more relatable to you. How you be more relatable to him is based on your output and performance, given how he related to you via navigation. That's why I say I don't talk about dominance over here. I talk about direction over here. Okay. Not bashing guys that do talk about domination, but my lingo over here is a little different, right? A little different over here, you dig? So I brought up, I guess pirates sinking the ship, sea monsters, bad storms, um, sometimes her having a bad hull or given just how she's made or how she needs to be refined. All these things can lead to a sunken ship or a sunken relationship, you know, but other times it's just her lack of motivation. Like you got a ship with a bad engine, it ain't going nowhere. It's not going to last out on the waters. She ain't got enough fuel in her tank and she ain't got enough get up with the engine. Just makes for bad motivation. She ain't got enough mojo. So, like with the ship, like I said, though, it could be the engine, but sometimes, like I said earlier, in regards to the rudders and the propellers, sometimes that don't work properly. Sometimes those things just get caught up. Okay, maybe she had a good start with you, bro, but she just got caught up on something. Like on a boat. Like some of y'all that got boats and y'all go fishing and stuff. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Sometimes your propeller or rudder get caught up on something like some seaweed or some rope or something like that, and you gotta like literally stop the boat. And I hope you don't see no alligators or snakes up in the water. But I'm just saying, you got to try to untangle it so you can keep it moving, and hopefully your rudders or propellers ain't damaged, right? But sometimes that be her, and I get it. Yeah, sometimes you get caught up on something, but we're trying to avoid that, right? And it could be very well still good navigation, still me doing my part, still us getting through, you doing your part. But sometimes these snags come up, okay? But sometimes it's hard to go anywhere after that. Maybe with this type of chick, after these snags come up, she just doesn't have the get go no more. She lost a little bit of her mojo. And I'm like, look, it's all right. Come on. Like, you know what I'm saying? You try to motivate her like everything gonna be all right. And she's just one of them types that just quickly gets sad. Like you can't say nothing to her about things, man. It's like, yo, I can only get so far with this gal here. So you got that type of chick, the chick that you can only get so far with. A captain he want to get far. Okay. Like we got things to see. and I would like you to go with me. However, if I can only get so far with you, I guess we got to leave this one right here, right? Got to leave this one right here. But yeah, I kind of want to also get back to the autonomous ships, you know, those out there on their own. I guess they want to call themselves that, even though there's still some type of control that they're receiving. If it's not from a captain, it's from a program that was installed into her. But, I'd say for those type, she set out to sea in order to see. Yeah, she set out to sea in order to see. And, sometimes she's going to end up in uncharted waters, very uncharted waters. Because sometimes that does happen. The charted waters usually are at the helm of a captain. But without the captain, she's going into certain waters that a captain has never been before. And maybe she was programmed to do that. And you can see that with the modern feminine. A lot of them are doing things that we haven't seen gals do in times before. Like this is all unprecedented, what we're seeing going on with the feminine. Okay. And it's not like they can really blame guys for backing out. It's like, no, it's like they're not even offered to come in. Like true captain types aren't really of that much of a demand right now. But it seems as more ships will eventually go out at sea and then go adrift and some will sink, there might be a need of, well, maybe we got to think about captains. But the problem is there ain't enough guys out there that are captains. That's the problem. So we look at that and we look at these sunken relationships. Yeah, hey, what's good? Perfect timing. Hey, we just talking about sunken relationships, man. You already know how it goes. Any feedback, let me know. Let me know. But yeah, just heard probably gonna wrap this up in a little bit. But just wanted to really throw out there, all this. Exactly. That's it, delivery. She lost her mojo. That's a definite red flag alert when she lost her mojo. I don't care what it is, whether she got tangled up on something or she lost her fuel or her engine went bad. See, it's not the problem that she gets tangled up or she loses fuel or the engine goes bad. The problem is after we get these things straightened out. After we get these things straightened out, the problem is she doesn't want to move forward after things have been taken care of. That's the red flag right there. Okay, we get this all taken care of, but now you don't want to go anywhere. Or maybe another problem comes up that I guess you have. Maybe you start complaining about something else after we have worked on this issue that we had initially. So, you know, that's the thing. We got to keep in mind these things in regards to these sunken relationships, how this all takes place. I appreciate that perfect timing. So, it's not always the captain. Don't blame the captain. A lot of times it is the ship. There are a few times when it is the captain that did something, and there are times when things do come up that could lead to the sunken relationship. See, we see on these internet spaces certain clips of ships sinking and things like that, and some people be like, "Oh man, I would never want to go out there on the open ocean." Well, I haven't been on the ocean, but I've been on these big lakes, up north, up in the Great Lakes. I've been across, and that's about as close to an ocean as I've been. Now I'll tell you this: once you get the hang of it, it's actually safer than driving in the car. When you just realize it's water, you just know not to jump in the water. You pretty much don't think about it too much. Okay. And I'm pretty sure for those that have truly been on the open seas, y'all get the hang of it too. Like after so long, it's cruising so smooth, y'all don't really think about it too much. Like, okay, we're just out here and we enjoying the cruise. You don't do stupid things that have you end up overboard. See, let's talk about that right quick. Doing stupid things that'll get you overboard. Fellas, don't do stupid things that'll get you overboard. Literally. Like with her, sometimes the ship can sink because you're doing stupid things. Now you're trying to jettison. Okay. That's why I believe in a smooth sailing. Smooth sailing with her. Now, if she doesn't want to smooth sail with me, I can jettison for that reason. That real jettison ship. I can jettison for that. But I don't want this ship to sink because I didn't have her have smooth sailing. I don't want that to be on me. I'm trying to keep us smooth. Okay. But all that to say, usually you don't have to worry about a ship sinking on you because usually there's a good captain and that's a good ship. And he knows that ship very well. There's a good relation there going on. The only time things don't go good with the ship or the captain, there has to be something really crazy going on to cause that ship to sink. So keep in mind when I say her sunken relationship, something really extreme had to happen for that ship to sink, or maybe she's just that extreme of a ship herself. And maybe people see that ship and they be like, oh, y'all see that ship out there? I wouldn't want to get on that vessel. She's not a yielded vessel. You might end up sinking with her. I wouldn't want to get on that vessel. Hopefully this live made sense to some. Maybe this live did not make sense to others, but to the others that this live made sense to, feel free to hit that like button, especially those listening to this on the replay. If this is your first time checking out my channel and you like my content, whether it's my uploads or live streams, there's definitely more in store. Make sure that y'all subscribe. Therefore, share this live as well as my other content if you go into my archives, which is under the label of playlists, which consists of different topics. And I hope that y'all enjoyed this with some popcorn, nachos, hot dogs, and soda. Yeah, exactly. Perfect timing. That sunken ship affair. Sunken ships. Yeah, yeah, definitely safer than cruising on a riding in the car or flying in the airplane. Facts, facts. Um, I'd say if they even bring airships back, that'd be even safer. You know, they just made a big deal about airships back in the day because of the type of air that was used to fill up the fill up the bags on the airship. That's all, you know, because um, it's all about hydrogen. Actually, a lot of people don't know about the Hindenburg. The Hindenburg was not supposed to originally use hydrogen. Hitler, or let's just say Germany, at the time, they wanted helium. But because it was World War II and the Allies saw Germany as the enemy or part of the axis of evil, they did not give them access to helium. So Hitler and the rest of Germany had no choice but to fill the Hindenburg up with hydrogen instead. Okay. Now, hydrogen, though it's lighter, it's obviously more flammable upon something happening. Exactly. Yeah, the Zeppelin. Yeah, you're right. And so that's the thing I classify them, right? So Zeppelin and then blimp. To me, those two different types of airships. The Zeppelins are the more rigid type of airships, and then the blimps, they're the ones that aren't rigid. But then you got the hybrid. Sometimes they call them hybrid, or sometimes they call them semi-rigid. But yeah, yeah, I love Zeppelins, man. I hope they come back. I miss them. You know, I miss them. I do personally. So my heart goes out to those who have had the bad memory of the Hindenburg. But I believe the Hindenburg wasn't at fault. You know, it was just the way things were at the time during World War II. And you know, the Allies wouldn't give Germany access to helium, so they had to fill up the Hindenburg with hydrogen. Okay, so that's what it was. But I was saying that to say now in these times, bring back these same types of airships, these Zeppelins, because usually Zeppelins are larger than blimps anyway. Um, they're going to replace cruise ships because what would y'all rather do? Um, Knowing that you're going to sink or knowing that when the vessel hits the water, y'all still be afloat? You know what I'm saying? Like, because they made it to where these, yeah, but that's the other thing too. Like, if something did happen to that big old airbag over your head, does it come down on you? Like, because it's supposed to be lighter than air, but if y'all end up on the water, like, I don't know, it's a very hard thing to think about. Would you want to go down on a cruise ship or go down on an airship. Like, but the airship, you'll still touch the water before it starts to go down. Like, I don't know, man. I think about stuff like that. But but yeah, make sure y'all hit that notification bell so that y'all get all of my uploads in real time. For those on the replay, y'all can check out the different platforms that I'm on, and also those on the replay, I have in the description section, I'll have places like for I think yeah, have a PayPal and a Cash App if y'all want to tip yours truly. No obligation, no expectations, just appreciation. If y'all want to tip yours truly, and no matter what it looks like, it's only going to get better from here, especially if y'all stay off the wrong type of ships or the wrong type of relationships. Ladies, make sure he's a captain based on what I said earlier. And fellas, make sure that she's worthy, that she sees you as worthy. Not that you have to prove you're worthy to her. She has to know that. She has to see you as worthy, see worthy. Okay? Real recognize real. She ain't real, she not gonna recognize you, right? And that's what we see. There's probably a lot of guys out here that could be notable. They could be notable captains out here, but uh, they haven't had that right moment to show that because there's not a ship good enough for them to let them show that to the world that yo, I'm good. I know how to navigate these waters with the right ship. Yeah. So I'd say fellas continue to work on being that captain, right? Because overall, if he's being guided by the creator, you know, the creator's gonna make sure that you're going to be the right captain, even if there's not a ship out there for you to relate to. I mean, the next best thing is just still knowing that you're ready. There are still other channels you can go down, you know. Sometimes you got to paddle it out. Got to go the canoe route, right? That's a different talk though. You said perfect timing. You said see worthy equals see value and worth in you and your mission, your voyage. Facts. Facts. Oh, you already know I appreciate it, family. I appreciate it. Yeah. So without all this, even with what perfect timing said, and even with what deliberate said, expect that ship to sink. So yeah, avoiding the pirates, avoiding the sea monsters, avoiding the storms, avoiding breakdowns that could happen with the ship. That's a lot to take on. Avoiding the bad navigation, right? Because the captain sometimes makes bad navigations. Making sure that we have enough on the ship, like enough food, enough fuel, enough of everything. This makes for a good voyage. Bon voyage, sir. Bon rayage right now, y'all see. But yeah, it's just like I've said, you know, it's what y'all building is a vision, not a relationship. The relationship is reflective of the vision. The vision is the voyage itself. Exactly perfect time and knowing that storms will come. Okay. Can you stand the rain? You know, like they say in the song, storms will come. This we know for sure. But tell me, baby, can you stand the rain? Can you stand the high waters on the sea? You know, a lot of the sailors, they admire a ship that's made to take on the brunt of the waves, or they admire the icebreakers that can break through the ice up in the polar regions. They know those ships are made for storms, and some of these ships are manufactured in such a way that they cannot, and I repeat, they cannot even operate in perfect weather. Ain't that something? They made a ship so tough that they cannot even operate that ship in perfect weather. Woo! Y'all not hearing me, man. Fellas, y'all got to get around a girl that's so tough and knowing how to get through these storms with you that things going so perfect. Like she like, yo, we gotta see what's up. Like we gotta stay in prayer about things. We don't want things to get too quiet. Not that I'm about chaos, but I just want you to know that I'm here. I'm not trying to I'm just not trying to be too perfect, but I'm definitely not trying to be chaotic. It's different as far as we're gonna just ride smooth through the storms versus her being the storm itself, like the ship itself that's chaotic. Yeah, you already know, man. You already know. I already get talks that I look like them guys from the '90s, with the R&B look. I get this all the time. So yeah, yeah, man. So oh, I see you got an acronym. Yeah. What does that mean? What does? Oh yeah. Can you stand the rain? Yes, sister. Ooh, stop. Y'all doing this to me. Stop. Sister, can you stand the rain? Ooh, stop. We ain't even trying to go there right now. I gotta end this live stream. y'all, y'all doing this to me. I love it. I love it. I love it. Yes. So we definitely gonna do this again. Got another good live stream coming up. I think I'm gonna go for a double header, given the date of this live stream. But yeah, we just dealing with her sunken relationships. I gave y'all a great overview of how this happens. And if anybody else got any other questions about that, feel free to comment in the comment section below. So see y'all on the next one. Thanks a million for stopping by. Much love.